Today's recipe is goat biryani. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today I will be making a very simple recipe of goat biryani, and it's very simple to follow recipe. So let's begin. I'm going to be sharing the list of things that I will be using for this goat recipe. So first you will be needing 10 Roma tomatoes, about I would say 12 small green chilies you will be needing. And you can omit that if you don't want something spicy, just omit it, but I will be using it. And one big onion you're going to be using, and one lobe of garlic. I might use a little bit more, but you can use one lobe of garlic. And ginger, I will be using a big piece like that. I'll shred it. I have like 3 cups of basmati rice, and vegetable oil, I'll be using half a cup. 1 cup of yogurt, plain yogurt, and I will be using pinch of food color. So quickly I'll tell you the list of spices that you will be needing. I will be adding 2 teaspoons of red chili powder, 1 teaspoon of coriander powder, 1 teaspoon of cumin powder, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, and 5 cloves of small cardamom. You call it a lychee too. And I have over here 1 teaspoon of crushed form jaifal and javitri, which you also called in English mace, and nutmeg, M-A-C-E, mace, and nutmeg, N-U-T, nut, M-U-G, mug, I think nutmeg. So that's all. So for these spices, I will be using 3 bay leaves, 1 cinnamon stick. I will be using aloo bukhara, also called plum. I will be using this about 10 to 12. You can get it from any Indian store. And also I will be using cumin, whole cumin, half a teaspoon, 10 to 12 cloves I will be using. And this is black pepper whole. I'll be using 10 to 12. And this is black cardamom, black whole cardamom. I'll be using only 2. So it's called also badi elaichi. That's what I will be using for the spices. So for this recipe, I will be using about 3 pounds of goat meat, which is washed and clean. I will be using a pressure cooker for this recipe. And also I will be using this big tray, and I'll put foil on it, and this is going to go into the oven. So these are all the things that you will. So sometime in the goat meat or beef, they usually have a lot of fat, just like that, and it's very dangerous for your health. So I usually take it out. See, it's fat, how I'm cleaning up all the fat, and it's clean now. So quickly I will be shredding my ginger like that. It's a big piece, so about 3 to 4 tablespoons of ginger I will be using for this recipe. So I'll just shred this ginger just like that on the shredder. So I will be using 1 full lobe of garlic, and I'll show you how to open 1 clove, and you can do the rest. You can cut this from the middle just like that, and then peel it. It's so easy. Just hold it from this end, go like this, and peel it. And here you go. I have this 1 clove right here, so I'll do the rest. So as you can see, I have added this washed and clean goat meat into the pressure cooker, and I already added 1 glass of water, and I'm going to add 1 more. So this is the glass I'm taking. So 2 glasses of water I'm adding into the goat meat. And now I will be adding all my spices that are there into the goat meat right here, and also the bay leaves and cumin, all of them, everything, the plums, everything goes in there. So now the last thing is ginger and garlic. I'm gonna add those also. You can see all my spices in there. I did not leave anything behind. All the spices that were in the plate, they are all added into the goat meat. Now I have my ginger and garlic also um, into the goat meat. I will just mix all the meat nicely with the water, and it's on a very high flame, and I will close the pressure cooker, and I will let it cook. It'll be on a high flame for about 10 minutes before the whistle blows. When the whistle blows, I'm gonna leave the goat meat for about 10 more minutes to 15 minutes, and I will open it and see how tender it is. So you kind of have to, with the time, I cannot tell you precisely how long you're going to be doing this cooking in the pressure cooker, because each goat is different. This goat that I'm using is a large goat. It was about 40 to 50 pounds. So it's going to take a little bit longer time for me to cook this goat. But if it is a small goat, like 25 pounds to 30 pounds, you probably, when the whistle blows, you can cook the goat in a pressure cooker about 10 minutes. So it really varies how big the goat was. So let's see how this goat does. Now you can see on a high flame, water is all bubbling, and now at this point I will just put my pressure cooker lid on. I will close it tightly, just like that. Always align it like this so it not blow up. Make sure it's tightly closed, and I will put a pressure on it right here. This is the wheat. I will put it on it, and then I'll still keep it on a high flame, and after I hear the whistle blow, I'll wait 10 minutes and open it, and it should be 10 to 15 minutes, and hopefully let's see how the goat meat comes out. So now let's quickly cut our tomatoes. So I will be slicing them. Do not crush them, just slice them just the way I'm doing it, like this, into small pieces, just like that. And I will cut all 10 Roma tomatoes, just like that, quickly, one by one. And you see the size? It is cut into these small cubes. That's all I want. So over here, I'm going to be slicing the whole big onion right here. I'll just peel off like this, and I will be also slicing the onions just like that, because we will also make these onions turn golden in oil, and not black, golden. Always remember never to make your onions go darker, because everything starts to smell taste not very good then. So that's it. That's how I will be cutting the rest of the onion. As you can see, the whistle is blowing, and I will turn the flame on low, because you don't want to burn the goat meat. So I'll wait about 20 minutes. So it's going to be 20 minutes after the whistle. So now, as you can see, my onions are turning a little bit golden. They are almost done. It took me like 10 minutes or so, not more than 10 minutes. And I was continuously watching them and stirring them. And you cannot, with onion, leave them alone and just walk away. They're going to burn. So mine are not burned because I was continuously stirring them, and just like that. And I think this is a beautiful color. This is exactly what I was looking for, and I'm going to quickly take them out. Now see, I took out my onions. How nice they are. Look at the color and the texture of these onions. Beautiful. So now this remaining oil is still on a high flame. I will be adding my tomatoes in this remaining oil, like this. And quickly I am mixing them with oil, and I will cover them for about 10 minutes until the tomatoes soften up, and then I will add this into the meat. So I'm going to keep them on a medium flame, covered. So let's wait 10 minutes. As you can see, I have added my green chilies in the tomatoes too. So they're about 10 to 12, and I'm just going to cook these with the tomatoes. So let's see how my tomato is doing. Wow, on a medium to high flame, as you can see, my tomato has softened up and fully cooked into the oil that was left behind the onions, and they are bubbly, and I will cook it for another 5 minutes or so, and then I will close the flame, because I'm trying to totally cook them, you know. I do not want to leave any water behind, but they should not be dry. Always remember, in biryani you want to have gravy, not water but gravy. So let's wait for another 5 minutes, and I'm just going to close the flame. Now see, my meat is almost done, and as usual, like I told you, I will not open this because there's a lot of air. Do not open it like that, it's gonna explode. So again, I will be pouring water on it. So just pour about some water, just like that, and then wait 2 minutes and then open it. So now you can see my tomatoes are done, and I've closed the flame. As you can see, there is no water there, but yeah, there is little oil, and the gravy that you're seeing it is from the tomatoes itself, and you need that gravy for the rice. So that's a really nice sauce that I made. So let's go to the next step. So now let's open this pressure cooker and see if my goat meat is done. So now let's try to break this. It is breaking very easily, and it's fully cooked. So now we can add on other stuff now. So now in a big skillet on a high flame, I will be adding about, I would say, half a cup of oil, not more than that, because some people do use 1 cup of oil for biryani. That's very common, but I happen to not like that, so I'm just going to use about half a cup. That should be good enough to caramelize the onions to golden. So now I'm going to add 1 whole onion just like that in there, and we will wait for about 10 minutes, and they will turn golden, and we'll take them out. So we're just going to make these onions brown on a very, very high flame. So for my rice that I will be using in the goat biryani, I have taken about 10 to 12 cups of water, and I am adding, since it's 3 cups of rice, I will be using about 3 teaspoons of salt. I'm adding it, and I'm going to close the lid, and once the water will come to boil, I will add the rice. So always remember, when you add the rice in the water, do not close the lid. Just cook it on an openly like that, and note the time after the boiling. Probably it's going to take about 10 to 15 minutes before I take the rice out. I'm going to fully cook this rice for this recipe. So after 10 minutes of boiling, my rice are totally cooked, and I'm just going to strain them. So now they're all strained, and I'm just going to take all the water out from there, and I will just put them back in the pot and cover it nicely until it's ready to be put on top of the goat meat. So on a very, very high flame, since the meat is very tender, so I've put this on a very high flame, and I've gotten a bigger pot so the water can evaporate quickly because the meat is done. So quickly I will add 1 cup of yogurt into the meat right here. Also I will add on these onions that I have caramelized. So here you go, my onions. I'm leaving just a little bit of onions behind, so that I will just put them on the top. And also I will be adding this tomato sauce that I made, which is totally cooked and semi-dry. And I'm adding all the tomatoes, and that's it. See, everything is added, and I will mix them very, very well, just like that. And I will keep a sharp eye on it, and just on a very high flame, I'm going to quickly dry up the excess water that will be from the yogurt itself. And after it's dried and there is some sauce left and the oil separates, and this is the time when I will take this meat out and I will put it in the oven. So now after stirring it for about 10 minutes, and I did not close the lid, it's on a very high flame, and my goat is very, very tender. And with the goat or cow meat, any type of meat, it needs to be tender to go into the rice. You do not want to have meat that is not tender. So now at this point, as you can see, as I'm stirring, do you see there is no oil on the side? Do you see that? Only you can see little bubbles and little oil and little sauce that is from the tomatoes and the yogurt itself, but I don't see any water, running water. You should never have running water in the masala. So that is showing me that it is totally cooked, and I'm gonna put it into the baking dish now at this point. So as you can see, my meat is in my tray. This is gonna go inside the oven, and you don't see any running water. So it's now we're gonna add rice on top. We're gonna cover all the areas just like that, and I will pour all the rice on the top of the meat. I'll cover all the surfaces just like that. So as you can see, I added some mint leaves on the top just for the aroma, and now I'm gonna just sprinkle a little bit of food color like I always do, and I will sprinkle my leftover golden onions that I fried, and half I have put that in the stew and half I have added on top of the rice, and it is done and it's ready to be put in the oven. And now I will just take my tin foil and I will just wrap it around so the air would not leave. As you can see, I have wrapped up the foil, and I'm closing this tightly, look, so the air will not escape. Make sure you put the tin foil really tightly so it will form up some hot air in there, and that's going to make the rice and be very fluffy. So now it's closed tightly, and I'm going to put it in the oven. So now my biryani is in the oven, in the middle rack, and temperature is 350. So I will leave it on for about I would say about 15 to 20 minutes, and then I will just leave it on warm after that, and I'll take it out quickly. So after 10 minutes of oven time to 350, I have turned the bake time to 300 for another 10 minutes. I think I'm total time, since my biryani is all done and the rice are also fully cooked, so I will just give time like about 10 minutes on 350 and 10 minutes on 300, and then I will just dish it out. I just took out my biryani out of the oven. As you can see, it is beautifully decorated, and I will dish it out and taste it and let you know how it tastes. I hope you enjoy learning this recipe.